Okay, here we go. Welcome to Miami. American Airlines 1576 for the call sign today. Start that. Let's have a little look at these then. So we've got the GPS primary loss warning at the moment still. RS align in 1 minute. TARA on the TCAS. And we want Unicom 1228. So, what is our flight plan? Skips to departure by the looks of it. Inish, and we're going from Miami International KMIA to MBPV. MBPV. Providenciales. And the alternative MDST, which is in the Dominican Republic. MDST 1576. And we'll have a cruiser flight level 150. Let's have a look at the flight plan page. So, we're going to use runway 09, closest to us. Skips to departure. Let's put this on plan mode. Straight over the bay, over Miami City. And then across to the Bahamas. It's a temporary flight plan. Direct to BTAC, it says. And then it's direct to Soleil. And that's it. And then a VOR arrival into Providenciales. Runway 10 I think it is with the current weather. VOR DME 10. Let's have a look at the other options. Okay, yeah, that would be it. By the looks of it. Let's have a look what happens on the charts. That's going to fly us a DME arc. So let's choose approach again. My nav just won't work at a small airport like this. I'm not even going to try it on the sim. That's flying us in over as well. be fair, that's probably what we want. That'll be 8 mile DME and then round, so we shall do that. So this is what the arrival is going to look like according to Jeppesen charts, and we're actually going to fly in. It's not going to let me draw on this one unfortunately, but we're going to fly in from where it says DME 10 at the bottom here, and then we're going to turn over the airport flying that VOR arrival. It's a nice simple departure out of Miami as well. So I need the latest METAR. So I'll get that from my Discord bot. .METAR KMIA, and what have we got here? So 070 at 16, gusting 21. So that's fine for runway 9. And they've got, because it's American, 3027 for the altimeter. .3027, temperature's 25 degrees. Just check the altitude for this. Skips departure. Skips to RNAV, and transition altitude 18,000 feet apparently. So this is our departure. Initial climb, top altitude 5,000, lovely, so that's what we want. So go ahead and put that in the nav in the autopilot again. Actually, we need fuel before I forget. SimBrief is telling us 6,600 kilograms. So I want zero fuel weight first. Clear this for zero fuel. And just tweak some numbers, so 1. That'll do. Mach 23.4. It's the zero fuel weight centre of gravity. And it's 6639 for fuel, so 46%. 48%. No. We're not going to need this much. That'll do. So we need zero fuel weight, which is 60.3 tonnes, minus the 6.56 tonnes, which is 53.74. That goes in slash 23.4. Zero fuel centre of gravity. We've got the route already input, so we'll do 0.3 up here for taxi, and 5.1. That's telling us that's how much we're going to need. Which is grossly different to that. So it's calculated everything there. So we'll do 6.56. This will just need a few minutes to sort itself out, but in the meantime we want flaps 1 and a flex 2 from our performance calculator. Refresh the V speeds and just make sure everything else is in. RadNav, we could do that now. So ILS, so VOR runway 10. I think it was the Yankee that we put in, wasn't it? Well, it's 115.6. And the course is 105. So it might go wrong because the sim hasn't put it in itself. So that should be good. And then we need to file a flight plan in vPilot. So I'll do that quickly. Just get your flight, if it's the same one as vPilot, just do what I'm doing and copy paste. Flight plan KMIA to Mike Bravo Papa Victor. What was it? MDST for diversion. Departure we'll do 14:30. Time en route 1 hour 11 apparently, and we've got 2 hours 55 of fuel. It's given us a cruise of 350 apparently. File. Just need to check something because someone's just come online as a centre, but I'm not sure if that's going to be covering us or not. No, Jacksonville, so he's just north of us, which is a shame. But we've got our flight plan filed, and just been asked if I'm using the the new sounds that went in last night. Okay, so that's our flight plan filed as it is in the MCDU. So flight director's on. Make sure I've got all the lights and things set up as I want them. And we need 2200 or 2000. Okay, let's push back. Where are we? Gate Foxtrot 20. Miami traffic, American 1576. Gate Foxtrot 20, push and start, facing west. So, Pushback Express.
Cockpit to ground.
Go ahead, Flybywire.
We are ready for pushback and engine start.
Roger. Release the parking brakes, please.
Now I've got to try and steer it with the rudder, so I won't go in drone cam.
Parking brakes released.
And I need the old beacon on while I remember. Let's give this a go then. Not used Miami for charts or proper taxiing yet, so we'll give it a go.
You are cleared behind A. Start your engines at your discretion.
Jolly good. FedEx Power Engine 2. It's got some new sounds, I'm not sure what they are, but we will listen and find out. Let's have a listen. On the centre line, engine 2 is available, so engine 1 start. Push forward on the stick to slow the tug. And stop it
Pushback
there.
complete. Set parking brakes, please.
Parking brake set.
Roger. Okay, the tow bar is disconnected and the equipment is clear. We will see you on the right with the pin.
Thanks, and you can disconnect and go to hand signals.
Thanks. Have a good flight. See you later.
Just want to check while we're waiting for engine 1 to start. Ah, yep. Whoops. What was I doing? Crabby. Actually, let's do 4,000. I want to see if the constraints have been tweaked. I'm on a testing PR, that's why. I thought they were all synced now. Let's get rid of the APU. And we'll pop the taxi lights on. I'll quickly look at the charts to find out where we are going, because I have no idea. So, window capture. So, Foxtrot. Really? Oh yes, that's where I need to go. So I need to go Papa Papa uniform. Actually, it'll be Papa Victor because of our position. Papa Victor cross 12. Victor Sierra. Hold at Sierra 2 for runway 9. Good grief. Miami traffic, American 1576 taxi to runway 09 via Papa Victor, cross runway 12, Victor Sierra, hold for Sierra 2. Mouthful. But in the meantime, let's play the American Airlines safety demonstration.
Hello everyone, thank you for your attention. It's time to get you ready for takeoff. We know you have lots of choices, so thanks for choosing American. We're happy to be your airline. Now if you'll just follow along with me, we'll be on our way.
Pop strobes on.
Welcome Welcome aboard. Before we depart, there are some important safety instructions.
No one's coming. I don't think anyone's on the ground at Miami, so we'll just taxi away silently.
Things first, let's buckle those belts. Insert the metal end into the buckle and pull the strap to tighten. To open, simply lift on the top of the buckle. And remember, seatbelts should be fastened whenever you're seated, just in case of unexpected
So need
failure.
cabin check. Spoilers armed, we can do that now.
Make sure your seat is up, all electronic devices are
We'll just
put
hug
away,
Sierra.
and a tray table is shown. If you have a carry-on, push it all the way under the seat in front of you. If it won't fit, place it in the overhead bin. If you have a handheld device, please switch it to airplane mode now. You'll find our full electronic device policy in the back of your American Way. U.S. law prohibits smoking, including electronic cigarettes, at any time.
Test the config.
Disabling or destroying smoke detectors in the lavatory may result in a fine.
Especially straight out departure over Miami City and I think South Beach.
Now let's review the safety card. Please pay close attention, and before you know it, we'll be off. All exits on this airplane are clearly marked. Take a moment to locate the
Yeah,
nearest
so
one.
straight over Miami
Keep in
Beach.
mind,
Ooh, what happened
maybe
there?
behind you.
Dodgy rudder pedal.
All exits have evacuation flags to use in an emergency.
Then south of Alice-town.
Jump onto the slide and move away from
We
the
turn right at Skips. We go over Bahamas then as well. And then hug the grouping of the Turks and Caicos Islands.
Slides may also be used as a raft.
The British Virgin Islands and things as well on the way.
Find the exact location on your safety card. This aircraft is designed with a straight lighting on or near the floor. A sign will indicate you have reached your exit. A light until you've reached your exit. Leave all carry-ons behind. Just head quickly and safely to the nearest exit, and don't forget it may be behind you. Now, if the airplane loses pressure, oxygen mask will drop automatically. While remaining seated with your seatbelt fastened, pull down on the mask to extend the tubing. The yellow cup goes over your nose and mouth like so, then slip the band over your head to secure the mask to your face. The band adjusts automatically. Normal breathing will start the flow of oxygen. And remember to always put your own mask on first before helping others. Life vests are located either under or next to your seat. To remove the vest, pull the tab or compartment handle to break the seal. For help locating them, see your safety card. Remove the vest from the package like this. Put the vest over your head. Wrap the strap around your waist, attach the buckle, and pull tight. Once outside, pull the tab to inflate your vest or blow into the red tube on the side. In the water, a light on your vest will illuminate. And please, only inflate your vest outside the airplane. Now, your seat cushion may be used as a flotation device. Just remove the lower cushion and put your arms through the strap found on the opposite side. The crew will now be coming around to do a final cabin check. After takeoff, we'll be back with
Miami traffic. Air Source 455, taxi 08 left for takeoff.
Flight straight. Flight straight is what we're going for.
Okay, so we can do cabin secure.
Camera crews for takeoff,
Nobody's coming, but we'll announce ourselves. Miami traffic, American 1576 at Sierra 2 departing runway 09 on a Skips 2 departure. Let's see, so lights all are on, strobes, etc.
Miami traffic. Air Source 455, holding short for takeoff. American Airlines. Air Source 455.
Miami traffic, American 1576, airborne, passing 500 feet.
Safe flight, American. Miami traffic, air source 455, ready for takeoff, 08.
That's to the climb gate, and flaps are in, so ground spoilers disarm.
Miami traffic, air source 455, departure 08, left, local departure, air source 455. Miami traffic, air source 455, passing 200 feet.
Through the clouds. live weather and real time. So it's about 9 o'clock, or quarter to 10 in the morning in Miami. So it didn't keep to its constraints that I'd set at 5,000, frustratingly, but hey ho. We've tested it, we've tried it. We could do seatbelts off, shall we? Passing 10,000 as well, we'll do landing lights off. And retracted. Accelerating to climb speed. Hello, nice. How long have you been doing that for then? Is it off today because of weather or coronavirus? It's actually the first time I've flown in America on VATSIM, but I figured it being early morning there wasn't going to be any coverage, so I gave it a go without the pressure of new ATC procedures and things. So BITAC is 120 miles away, and that waypoint is just after the Bahamas, I think, so we should get some decent views on the way. I did a Caribbean tour actually at the beginning of the channel on its own playlist, and I started in Miami, all offline, and then I worked all the way down to the very bottom tip, so Trinidad Tobago, and then we island hopped all the way back up. Back to Miami, so that was quite an enjoyable experience. No new ATC procedures, just a completely different country, so I'm not sure if you get slightly different local ways of doing things. I tend to just use Gatwick or Heathrow, and you become very familiar with A, the controllers, but B, the procedures and things as well. Oh, nice. If you're new to the channel, welcome. It's nice to see you tuning in. And if you are not new, very warm welcome back to all of the frequent flyers, my subscribers on the channel. It's nice to see you joining us again for this. Slightly different today. Normally we use flights departing or arriving into the UK. But about a month ago I was asked by a subscriber if we could cover the it was specifically Miami to Providenciales, so I thought, why not? There's Alice Springs on the left. If you haven't subscribed, make sure you do press that subscribe button down below. And if you're interested in knowing what mods I'm using today, then click the description and I've listed them all at the very bottom there. So we're in the A32NX Fly-by-Wire mod, of course. The only properly usable airliner. Whoa, tilty, wrong button. See if we can get a better view of these islands. It's interesting because the promo videos for the sim had all this luxury looking coral reefs and all the rest of it with beautiful azure waters, but I've not found any of that yet, except for Mount Cook in New Zealand, which is genuinely stunning to fly into. So we're now in the Caribbean Sea, passing 20,000 feet, flight level 200. So thanks for tuning in. Enjoy your flight school. And thanks for subscribing as well. Let's see, let's go to a good old centre stack view looking down over the Caribbean, shall we? Hopefully when the next METAR gets pulled in we'll get a bit of a change of weather, and we'll be able to just tweak these displays slightly for you guys. Hopefully we'll be able to see a couple of the islands below, especially the Bahamas as well. I flew into there on one video, but taxied down a road by accident to get back to the terminal, so that didn't go too well. I've started a Discord server as well, guys, so you can find me on there. The link's in the description, and in fact I can show you guys very briefly. I've put a bot on there that gives you chart data and METARs and things, which is really handy for flying. So here's my Discord, and within that, once you've clicked and accepted the rules, you can head down to the METARs charts page, and you can just type in like .METAR KMIA or .charts KMIA, for example, and it gives you the most up-to-date Jeppesen chart packs. You can see there this one's dated the 10th of July 2020 for Providenciales International in the Turks and Caicos Islands. So if you haven't joined my Discord yet, then at the very least you could join just to use it for charts, so it helps you guys out a little bit with your flying in the sim as well. We're flying a VOR approach into Providencial. There was an RMP option. For those of you who saw my tutorial video flying into Rome, and then a live stream that I did going into Heraklion in Greece, or Crete rather, then you'll know that my the sim doesn't really like RMP approaches for some reason, and I thought, being a Caribbean airline, it's not going to be particularly in the sights of Microsoft Flight Simulator or Sobo to make sure that RMP is correct, because Rome wasn't even correct, and that's a major city in Europe. So I figured in that sense I would just leave it with a VOR, because we know how to fly those. I've flown a couple of those now, and I can demonstrate it again for you guys here with a very alien airport that I've never flown into before. So I'll try and follow the charts, which we will look at as we get a little closer. Total flight distance for us today, it's a 1 hour 11 minute air time. I'm just looking around on my brief thing that I created to see how many miles it would be, but no idea. You can see there we've got a countdown of 433, and I'm not sure if that's got the most up-to-date part of the master for the A32NX where this counts down as we travel. It looks like it does, yeah. So there we go. It's counting down with us. So it's probably about 500 or so nautical miles all in for us to travel. So let's zoom out onto 320 on that left nav display, shall we? Nice one, thanks commentator. If there's any issues with the Discord, then let me know. Everybody can chat in the crew room chat within the pilot's crew room server channel. Just let me know if you've got any issues getting authorization or permissions to use the METARs and charts bot and things, and we can sort you out. I've got two great guys that have been helping me out with setting this up as well, and they're the moderators. So any issues, and we'll try our best to get it sorted. I'm not great at Discord, I must admit. So I think I wouldn't have been in the position that I would be to get that set up if it weren't for the two guys that helped. If you've got any suggestions as well, or any content you'd like to see, because I want to generate stuff that's interesting for all of you guys, then there's a server channel within the Discord for suggestions. But also you can just let me know either in the live chat today if there's something you'd really like to see, or drop a comment on any one of my videos and I'll add it to the list, the ever-growing list, and I'll get to it as soon as I can. So BITAC is coming up, so we should be, if I move away from that pillar, so this has got the Bahamas just coming up through the cloud below, and I'll see what METARs we're pulling. Still KMIA. So wonderful Bahamas. If you do land there, don't do the same thing that I did where you taxi down the road, a roadway within the airport by accident to get back to the terminal. Hello Aviation Spotter, welcome. Thanks for tuning in. We're just heading over the Bahamas. If any of you got any questions about anything as we make our way, then just let me know in the live chat as well. I really enjoyed flying around here when I was doing my little Caribbean tour as part of the virtual airline that I was joining to sort of hours build in the Airbus A320, but it was really nice. But I didn't cover all of the islands, so Turks and Caicos was one that I never got to. That should be on our left hand side up here. Is that it, just off in the distance? Yep, so that's Nassau, all the way up just in the distance there. So the big island we're flying over is the Bahamas, and then Nassau's the little island off to the left hand side, probably about 100 miles off in the on our 11 o'clock, 10 o'clock. Might pop out to the external view again just to try and admire the island a little bit more. Hello Matty, welcome. Thanks for tuning in. If there's anything you'd like to see or any questions you'd like answering, then just let me know. It is, yeah, the simulator's pretty stunning. I think it's one of those things, if they put the amount of effort they put into designing the graphics and the overall look from the photogrammetry into, like, the same amount of effort into the autopilot and the way the airliners flew, then this sim would be absolutely incredible. If it wasn't for the likes of I've not been there myself. That's partly because the island is really expensive for us to fly to from the UK for a nice holiday. The last time I used any sim was Flight Simulator X, but not recently. It was I think the last time I used Flight Simulator X was like 15 years ago or something, a really long time ago anyway, and it certainly wasn't anywhere near the level of this graphics wise, and I had a really basic computer as well, so I had everything set to low, but at the time I loved it, and the immersion of it was great still, well, the experience of it was great, I should say, but I certainly didn't have any mods or anything back then, and then life sort of got in the way, so it's only this new simulator I've just decided to go for it again. Yeah, I definitely want to go there. I'm not sure if they have the seaweed problems. Matty, I'm not sure if you remember actually, if a couple of years ago, were there any seaweed on the beaches? I know I visited Antigua and the Dominican Republic and things on holidays, and the beaches were just full of seaweed all the time. And since I've gone to Mauritius instead, so going the other way around the world. So I've gone to Mauritius last couple of years, and that was stunning. Expensive, but really, really worth it for value for money, luxury, but also stunning beaches, amazing sunsets. So that's good to know. I look at TripAdvisor before I book holidays nowadays, and I tend to see if there's any photographs that highlight any seaweed on the beach or anything like that, then it just sort of puts me off now, because last time I visited the Caribbean was Punta Cana in the Dominican Republic, and there was a lot of seaweed on the beach anyway, and it'd be cleared every day, but we also had a Hurricane Maria travelling as well, and that basically wrecked the hotel, wrecked the resorts around us, and destroyed the beach as well, so it's put me off a little bit. And there was none of that in Mauritius. You can still get cyclones and things, but not the time of year we visited. Yeah, all because of Microsoft Flight Simulator. David, I did a similar thing. I went out and ordered a custom-built desktop gaming computer specifically for the simulator, to the absolute best that I could afford, without going completely crazy and emptying a credit card on it. Well, I've got quite a basic rudder, throttle and yoke set. I've got the Thrustmaster T-Flight HOTAS X, I think it is, and it was about £100 as a bundle from Amazon. It was nice and cheap, and I bought it before all the hype basically caused every joystick in the world to go out of stock. I'd quite like the Thrustmaster Airbus, the Airbus TCA, I think it might be called, and it looks great, but I know a lot of people have had lots of problems with it as well, and I know they're tinkering with the A32NX, the Flybywire mod, to try and get each individual engine cut-off switch to actually work, but I'm glad I've got the joystick I've got, because I don't want to get something expensive and then it not work correctly. Although I say that, and we've got Microsoft Flight Simulator, which is pretty much what I've just described. CPU GPU upgrades massively from compared to what the system I used to have years ago to run the older flight sim on. I've got a Ryzen 5 3600X CPU. the NVIDIA GeForce RTX 2070 Super, and I've got it all on a 1TB solid state hard drive. I think it's the WD Black series, and 32 gig of DDR4 RAM as well. Khalil, we are flying American Airlines today. We're live on VATSIM, but there's no air traffic control in the area we're flying currently, so we're basically flying on our own still. But our call sign is American 1576. I'll show you the jet. That's Nassau just on the left of us now. I'm purposely zooming out because I know if I keep it too close, it will just deafen you all. So I want to try and avoid that. I mean, if it was me and I made your ears bleed, I wouldn't want to subscribe, so I don't want to do that to you guys. I wish I could work for an airline, but I think nowadays you need at least in British pounds, you need about £120,000. Which is just not affordable. And then it involves you going off to Florida or New Zealand for 6 months, and it's just, I can't really work that with life now. But my absolute dream was to be an airline pilot, but it just never worked out. So just streaming, I'm afraid. Give it a few more years and I'll be pushing for my private pilot's license again. I'll continue with that. I've still got all of my headset and things in the loft. Yeah, even my 3600X, I'm limited by main thread as well, frustratingly. My RAM is the 32 gig, but my RAM is, I think it's a 3600 megahertz. Team Force RAM. But I bought it from Overclockers in the UK, company based up in Yorkshire, I think. And they've been fantastic. Custom built gaming computer. And it's basically allowed me to the way they make it, they overclock everything to the absolute most that you could get out of each chip. So pretty good. Time zone, we flew out of Miami, so we're on Florida time. I'm not sure what that is. It's -6 hours, but we're Eastern Standard, I think it is. So it's 3 o'clock Zulu, 1500 Zulu, but I think it's I think it's about 10 o'clock or 11 o'clock in Florida at the moment. There we go, GMT5. I think Turks and Caicos is GMT4, isn't it? Off the top of my head. So we're hopping forward a time zone. Now we've still got about 300 nautical miles or so to go before we're well into our descent. But I've already prepared, when I was filing the flight plan into the MCDU, I've already gone ahead and put our RadNav frequencies in for the VOR. And the course for the VOR as well. The simulator sometimes puts that in for us. Most of the time puts it in, unless it's a very barren airport with very little data, and then it just leaves it blank. So the fact that I've had to manually put that in suggests to me that when we get to Providenciales, the airport's not going to look anything like it does in real life. It'll just be like maybe a shed and an apron. Which won't surprise me, because when I flew into both St. Lucia, Heroinora International and Antigua's VC Bird International last month, I know what they look like in real life because I've visited both, and they look nothing like it. They were both very empty airport areas basically, which is a little disappointing. I would have liked to have seen some little areas like the Caribbean get special focus. Even Princess Juliana, I remember on St Martin, in Flight Simulator X, that was almost like I'm trying to think now, that island that they've created in this flight sim. But there was a cruise ship and all this other stuff for Princess Juliana. It was their focus airport, which is quite nice. And I was hoping they would have at least kept that going, just for nostalgia, and they'd have just put that in as a little Easter egg for us. But again, that was an empty airport. Yeah, the frustrating thing on Microsoft Flight Simulator is the fact that it only seems to work with one core or one thread within the CPU, which just bottles everything up. I hope so. That's in the next update, isn't it, David? I think the Americas is next, which would be amazing. But I mean, that's a lot of work to do if they can cover the US. But they definitely need to work on the Caribbean. I'd definitely fly around all the islands a lot more if there was more detail to it. It's nice to do things differently as well. I spend most of my time bashing Europe on VATSIM, which is incredible for coverage, because I get loads of ATC. But it's nice to just do something totally different. Go to another part of the world. I still need to fly around Tokyo as well. That's on my list of things to do. I'm going to do a sort of a small Japan series, I think, flying from the north of the islands all the way down to sort of Hiroshima and things. But that's my sort of general love of Japan, though. I've visited there plenty of times, and it's just I think it's probably my favourite place on earth, except for Mauritius being a beach holiday destination and just pure beauty. Tokyo is probably my second favourite in the world then. Culture, food, everything about Japan is amazing. So if you've never been, I highly recommend it. And I've flown to Seoul before, actually. I wonder if this is available on charts. So I've flown into Seoul Incheon Airport, RKSI, and I was actually in the flight deck for that. And I was able to look at the maps and things as well. And I'm just digging it around now, so I'll have a little look. But it blew my mind. No preview available. Let's have a little look. So one of the arrival routes into Seoul in South Korea takes you very close to the borders of North Korea, and the two countries are obviously still in a form of war. So I'm seeing if I can find the chart. I've got a physical chart here in my house for it, because I kept it as a bit of a memento from the trip. But there was a red box, and I'm hoping I can find this for you guys because it's quite good to see. There was a red box that basically said if you fly into this area, you're likely to be shot down. So there's a big do not fly zone. Hi Mr. X, welcome. Let's have a little look. So just having a little look at the Seoul charts at the minute. It's a completely different part of the world, but these charts look very different though to the charts that I looked at years ago. True North is there. God, we have so many arrivals. I wonder if they've changed it because of the instability in the region. They've changed the stars. Yeah, well that's a shame. Area chart, I wonder if it's in there. Failed to load PDF, interestingly enough. So we're going to need to start thinking about planning our descent shortly, and it'll be interesting. If the weather stays like this, it's going to be interesting for us. Flying the VOR approach. Because I looked at METARs earlier on when I was planning this, and it suggested the weather might be not particularly great for us. Yeah, they've changed the charts. They've got rid of that threat vector thing that they put on there, which it was pretty scary to see. But same time, quite cool. I was having a little think the other day, and I know the next update's coming up in about a week or so, I think, isn't it, the next patch? And I'm thinking, because we're going into December now, I wonder if they're going to do another themed landing challenge like they had for Halloween. I wonder if we're going to have to like land on the North Pole or something on a snowy strip, or land at Santa's Grotto or something odd. Let's have a little look at the charts. We're about 200 and something miles away. So, bring this up for you guys. This is from my Discord server. You type .charts and then space MBPV. Well, actually, I don't think this was available on there, so I just googled it. There's the VOR DME approach with the radial as well, that 10 DME radial arc. Which was an option in the sim, but the way it looked when I actually put it into the flight plan initially, this was going to be my choice, but the sim programmed a really old flight plan into it, so I left that off, and I've gone for a VOR Yankee approach. So we've got that VOR tuned in at 115.6, and we've got a final approach course of 105 also input into our RadNav page. And you can see there we've got the decision height, decision altitude of 420 feet, an MDA of 392, and the airport elevation is 28 feet. We've got missed approach information as well, climbing to 1,300 foot outbound via the PVN VOR. Then we climb right, turn into 2,000. So it's very similar to the missed approach for Leeds Bradford Airport as well, actually. It's that figure of 8 that they all tend to use. So the same with a lot of the Greek islands that use the VOR approaches. But there were lots of options. There was an X-ray as well there, but it's a really tight turn compared, so. And then we've got runway 28 on the opposite side, so the same charts again. Tiny little airport. There's the runway data and the airport stuff here. And there's a little warning there for parasailing taking place on Grace Bay from sunrise to sunset, and pilots should exercise caution. We've got a runway length of 2,804 metres, plenty long enough for us. If a 777 from BA can fly in from Gatwick to Providenciales or Heathrow, then this little A32NX will be fine. And it's a tiny little apron there in the middle. There's a simple RMP approach, which was going to be the option. I mean, in fairness, I could have just programmed that anyway and then just flew the approach manually. But we'll fly around and over the island and back in with a VOR. A little bit of sightseeing on the way as well, potentially, of the island as we make our way in. Most of the airliners will use the VOR DME radial on that first page that we looked at, with this one here. Most of them from the UK, Denmark, Europe will be coming in from the northeast. So they'll be flying in on that northern DME arc and flying that procedure in. And you can see there at maxing, we have to be at 1,300 feet for that final approach. So 3 degrees. It's always good to review the charts and just see what you're going to have to deal with. And I'll leave the page that I need, which will be this one. I'll leave that up. You can see there we've got missed approach altitude, threshold height as well, actually 50 feet. So there we go. Clouds don't look particularly forgiving. What we got, Linden, Pindling International, Nassau. That's the METAR we've picked up still. But I've got it set to refresh every few, I think every 5 minutes we stay on one METAR. And we are, for this flight, we were testing some constraint data. But again, it didn't really seem to be working for us. I'm just going to have a little look to see what constraints we might have here. PVN. And it's going to tell us to overfly the airport at 2,000 feet. So I wonder if I can edit this. No. So anything green seems to be you just can't edit, which is annoying because that flight level 350 is rubbish. But again, it's a random little airport in the middle of the Caribbean as far as the simulator autogen has decided, so we're not going to get that same level of detail that we would get flying into Heathrow Airport for the systems and things. So we've got a couple of the smaller islands just down under the cloud. If you guys want the weather to be killed so you can see below, then just let me know and I'll get rid of the Unreal Weather mod for a little while. Hey Will, nice to see you tuning in again. Welcome. Thanks for helping set up the Discord as well, by the way. not too far away actually now. We are Soleil. So actually, let's set. We'll be able to set an altitude for Soleil. So let's set 4,000. No, 5,000, shall we? That's a constraint to aim at. But again, I don't think it really works. So I'll put it into managed altitude. And it's worked out top of descent there actually. So we'll let it fly to there and we'll see what it does. In fact, let's change it to 4,000 and see if that arrow moves. Yes! Right, we're going to leave it on managed altitude to see if this new descent feature is almost a little bit of VNAV that they've built into the aircraft, and we're testing that out as my role as a QA tester. And yesterday, a couple of videos that I've produced, which will be going live on the channel in the next few days, I couldn't get this to work, so we found a load of bugs with it. The guy has gone back through it, recreated it all, and it's pretty amazing now. So I'm just hoping this descent part of it works as well. Climb out didn't, frustratingly. Not sure why. I'd set the constraints as well manually. I don't think it does work far approach, unfortunately. That pains me to say. It'd be great if it did. I just don't think it does yet. I know they're having to work on bits as they go, and just sort of add elements of VNAV where they can. And eventually, the A32NX team will have moved to a separate model entirely. And in doing so, then they'll be able to create their own autopilot, own VNAV and everything else. So it'll be pretty special when that's done. And the progress made already is phenomenal. In 3.5 months or so, I think it was, since release, they've done an incredible job. So I'm just going to go onto my Discord server and go onto that Metar Charts bot, and I'm going to punch in to try and get the latest Metar data for Providenciales. Metar's chart, so dot Metar, and it's M Mike Bravo Papa Victor. Let's have a look. So wind 050 at 12 knots. Slight crosswind then. Scattered cloud at 1,200 feet. 27 degrees. Lovely. QNH 1017. Hello Flight Simmer, welcome. Nice to see you tuning in. Hope you're well. So it looks like that cloud's starting to dissipate for us a little bit now. Mostly is ocean though, so we're not going to get to see much. We'll see little blips of the islands below. Let's pop external again and just have a little look outside and down. We're testing I think Mr. Chocker, I think it is his username. I think all of the altitude constraints that he's edited, and cause it wasn't really working properly yesterday. But I've just put in vertical revision at Soleil, which is 100 and so miles away, with a constraint of 4,000, and we've been given a top of descent marker. So I've put it into managed altitude, and I want to see if it kicks in there. or if we have to tinker or do anything different. But my understanding was with what he's done, although I might be wrong, my understanding was that we put that 4,000 in, leave it in managed, and it should hit top of descent and start to bring us down to 4,000 by Soleil. That was my understanding of the changes of this PR anyway that we're testing. Good grief, what is happening to this weather? So much for sightseeing. That's gone out the window, hasn't it? So on the climb out we put in, it was 5,000 as a constraint, but it shot above that anyway, so I guess you're saying put in 3,000. We're going to be very low for this, but doesn't matter because it's going to be stunning scenery anyway. The only thing is this open descent is so frustrating. Right, we'll give that a go then. Should be any second though. We are spooling down though for a descent. Interestingly, you can see there with the crosswind that we've got is a 40 knot crosswind, 46 knot crosswind. There we go, there's our descent. The only thing is, look at the rate though. Minus 35, good grief. So until they implement something a bit better, it's just not really usable, is it? We'll see what happens. We'll just leave it at that for now. I think that's partly the reason as well why I was going to do this sort of Caribbean sector, because there's just no traffic, air traffic control, so we can test bits like this that probably really don't work, and we can just give it a go, see what happens. But he's holding that okay. I think he's trying to work out. Not quite sure what it's trying to work out, to be honest. I think once we get proper VNav and things implemented, then a lot of this stuff will work really well. After Soleil though, all of the constraints are a complete mess, so that probably doesn't help. The VOR, we're not going to overfly that at flight level 320. Yes, there's no air traffic control at all according to this. So, Chris, am I right in saying then that because we've not really got proper VNav implemented, the open descent is just completely unmanageable, so it's not going to follow any sort of descent profile properly, is it? Because it's pushing us down to a minus 4,000 foot per minute rate of descent. Yeah, I'll probably agree. I suppose they're writing bits of code in now that they can edit and change very quickly later. Okay, well, I've just dropped that to 3,000 and it doesn't change like it does before, so that's stayed on flight level 4,000, which I suppose is correct. I suppose all it's doing really is calculating. Instead of actually doing it properly, all it's doing is calculating where the top of descent would be for us, so that we can change. Yeah, so we don't really have any of that then yet. So all we're doing really is getting that top of descent marker from whatever coding's been written in, and then we can fly the vertical speed to match that. That's how this looks to be working anyway. While we're descending, I need to fill around with here, so 050 at 12 knots was the wind. Transition altitude, temperature 27 degrees Celsius, lovely and warm. QNH 1017 hectopascals. And what was the decision height that I mentioned earlier for this? 423 feet. Approach speed of 129 knots. It is on, it's on auto. Look, that's down one. It just doesn't quite look sort of in that neutral position. But I promise you the no smoking signs have been on auto throughout. So what he said on the PR is it should reach 4,000 and it should then prevent us descending any further unless we go to manual altitude select. That's how the PR read for what we're testing today. And that didn't work for the climb, so I'm hoping it will work for this today, for the descent. San Salvador Airport is the METAR we're picking up. I hope this weather clears. Ugh. Lovely. So, just over 100 or so miles to go. I quite like the challenge of flying into airports that are completely alien to me, so I'm hoping that it'll all be good. I think the commentator, it's basically auto means it's always on, I believe, or you could just manually have it on. But I know for some of the chimes, so the cabin chime for the gear up, that chime indication, that only activates on auto, or at least it's coded to on the A32NX currently. I know it was something I was testing about a month and a half ago. So with all the planning and things that these sort of videos take, and then the dynamic aspects of me testing all these new PRs that are going into the master development files within the A32NX, it takes a little while, a subscriber basically asked me to do this about a month and a half ago, I believe, or even 2 months ago. Can't quite remember now. But it's been on the list, and I didn't want to not do it. So it's been in the works for a little while, and I've been trying to time the days right, basically. See what signs are on. Looks like we're going to go through this horrendous amount of cloud. Still got a 25 knot crosswind. I'm on a day off today. that's how. So I work shifts, so sometimes I'll be working say 3 days, and then I'll have 2 days off, or 5 days with 4 days off, and so on. And then my days off are busy because I'm working on all this content for you guys. So just before we pop into this cloud, I'm going to have a quick look at the charts, and I'm going to grab my piece of paper that I always have folded up ready, and I'm going to draw a little diagram of the airport. And then a rough sort of route out, turning in 105 degrees, and so it's 2,000 over the airport, 1,300 feet for the start of descent. Lovely. Does the descent feature work? We're trying it at the moment. I think it doesn't work as it should do. It's given us a top of descent indication. So I'm fiddling with the vertical speed to try and hold that, basically. We'll try and stay just in front of it. As you can see there. But the aircraft isn't doing it anything itself dynamically. The only thing that I'm going to test is when we get to 4,000 feet, it should level off, because I've set the altitude constraint to not go below 4,000. So it should level off, but I've set 3,000 to see what we get. Also, it's 27 degrees, but this is Microsoft Flight Simulator, and we're going through clouds, so on go the icing. And in we go. I've had a lot of videos planned and done for a little while now, and they're just sort of uploaded ready. Some of them I've still got from August time that I've just left, and I keep moving them further and further back because I've got more content that I want released getting in the way. But I looked back through one of those the other day, and it's going to get uploaded in the next few days, and it's quite nice to see just how far this project has come, the A32NX project. Bit of turbulence as we're tickling the clouds. I've got 80 miles to go. Well into our descent now as well, 13,000 feet. I think it's a flight to Los Angeles, or sort of down into Los Angeles or something like that. That's what the video is. Coming in the next few days. But again, it just gets pushed back every time something else. I record something else with the current development. I'll put that as a priority. Good grief! This is quite turbulent. Look at that wing flex. Guys, I really hope this isn't going to be the weather as we get closer, because I don't think this is going to be suitable enough for a VOR approach. If it's not, we might have to we might have to change the weather. You can't do a visual approach when you can't see. What is this? We've got to be picking up the nearest METAR now for Providencial. Surely. No, it's still San Salvador. Got 20 knot crosswind again still. I know what I can check actually as well. If I go onto .METAR on vPilot, I can type in MBPV. No such weather profile. So I reckon this airport's never used on VATSIM, or very, very rarely used on VATSIM. It looks like we're generating new weather now actually, so what are we doing? Oh, Providencial. 050 at 12. Is that what I've got in the MCDU? Oh, it is. So the data in the MCDU is from my bot on the Discord. Scud at 12. So runway 10 is the one. That VOR approach is wrong. Good grief. That looks nothing like the charts. Below 10,000, should have really had the landing lights on, but distracted myself. And we're descending on idle now, basically. Ah, we're just touching the cloud base as well. Which is nice. We should start to see the Turks and Caicos ahead of us. Oh, there we go. Look at that. Beautiful. The water is stunning in the sim. Looks like we're back on for that visual approach. Let's see, so it is 60 miles away. Over off in the distance somewhere. So what I'm going to do actually, where are we, 6,000. Just going to leave us at 6,000 feet for now. I was testing these features, but I don't want to fly too low. Actually, hell, it doesn't matter. Let's go back into managed altitude, shall we? We'll just see if it cuts the descent at 4,000 like it should do. We can do local QNH of 1017. The Unreal Weather mod is quite good because it's pulling in the latest METAR. You can actually just have a look at it directly in the weather tab within the sim. And it's almost pointless announcing our position, but Providencial traffic, American 1576 inbound Soleil for a VOR approach runway 10. Totally pointless, but hey ho. We are supposed to announce our position on Unicom, so might as well do it. So we're going to be buzzing the Caribbean Sea, or actually the Atlantic Ocean, I think, isn't it? We're going to be buzzing the Atlantic Ocean at 4,000 feet. Or if this doesn't work, we might be going down to 3,000 feet, but if it doesn't work, I'll intervene. Okay, so it's given us the indication. And it looks like the constraints are working as well. Because we're actually hitting 4,000 now, and it shouldn't. It looks like it's, yep, lovely. So it's not allowing us to descend below 4,000. Nice. And then there we go, that top of descent marker's just booped to Soleil, so it'll then allow us to continue a descent on Soleil as well, but I don't want that, so we'll just leave it. We'll leave ourselves at 4,000 feet for now, shall we? We're still a little way off, but I had to test it on that waypoint because all the rest is locked by the simulator. It's got 2,000 foot there, correct though. Just off in the distance, we can just see a very tiny hazy outline of the island ahead of us. So interestingly now it's making us climb up to 5,000, which we don't want. So somewhere within here, well, it doesn't make sense, we've got 2,000, 1,300, so we shouldn't really be climbing back up to 5,000. Hey ho. Again, once we get VNAV, it will be much better. So as we get closer, I'll just bring up the approach. The approach plates. We're heading in for almost at the bottom of the chart here. We're actually flying in and over, so we'll be turning left and then heading north, flying over that PVN, the Providenciales Airport VOR, heading out to 8 or so miles, or 10 miles. Yeah, 10, 15. That's 10. And then we'll be turning left to join our visual final approach 105, but we'll be using the VOR to track a course. For the final approach. Yeah, so 8 mile DME. We'll then turn left. But our initial approach fix for this procedure is Providenciales. That flying over the airport at 2,000 feet, as per the charts. So we'll find out how accurate this is going to be in the sim. Yeah, the reset the MCDU video. I hope so. I kept seeing it get asked all the time on the A32NX Discord, and I just figured, I thought, you know what, I'm going to do a tutorial to try and help help people understand at least how to just reset it. It's easier to sort of show than it is to do, isn't it? Whoa, wrong button. I always click that wrong button. So just over the nose is the Turks and Caicos Islands. The livery is from the Livery Megapack. Definitely looking forward to when the when they update Microsoft Flight Simulator again. They add the American pack, the World Update, whatever they call it. That's going to be quite cool. Miami's nice to fly over, but you can still sort of tell parts are auto-genned. I would imagine this Providenciales is going to be a massive disappointment. I know Antigua was. Antigua's a beautiful airport, but it was just like a garage shed on the sim. Same with St. Lucia Hewanora. So that island ahead of us is the island that we saw on the charts. That's just south of the of Turks and Caicos, the Providencial. So I'm going to go 80. No, sorry, VOR. You can see now on that nav display, we're tracking that VOR. We're 21 miles away. And I'm going to leave it on managed heading. I'm going to allow it to fly that arc over the airfield, and then I'm going to put it onto manual heading because we want 314 degrees. It looks as though it's going to make us turn a very sharp left to FS10. No, actually, it does look correct, actually, to be fair. But the aircraft is going to try and touch us onto this triangular line. And whenever it tends to try and do stuff that it can't do, we end up flying around in circles. We'll have auto brake low. We can arm the spoilers ready. And we can go ahead. Approach phase should already be activated, and it is automatically. Yeah, it is a shame. You've got to go across to VOR for that. The constraint's flickering because that's the simulator not having a clue what it is supposed to be doing. Basically, everything for this portion of the flight in the sim has just been non-existent, so we'll leave it at that. That's probably the best I could explain it. We don't need LS because we're not going to be using any ILS systems or RNAV or anything like that. What was it? 314 degrees for that VOR, and we want 8 miles away from it. Look at this. Absolutely stunning. The runway is it's long enough for a 777. Page 1. The runway is apparently 2,800 meters long. So we should be okay for flaps 1. We said that last time, and I aimed for butter last time, and we didn't do too well. So you should be able to spot the airport potentially. Yes. Directly in the middle of the screen, I could just see them two flashing approach lights. So I can almost guarantee it's going to be a garage shed. And that there should be the whole length of the runway, so it should be plenty long enough. We've got an approach speed of 129 knots and 124 for a landing speed currently, though with the way the sim behaves we know that will change. Just try and level off that view a little bit. It's actually the first time in the sim where I've done, even during the Caribbean hops earlier in the southern parts of the Caribbean. It's the only time the water's actually been turquoise on the outside, but then you click inside and it just goes back to like a normal blue. Right, we need to go open descent. Actually, we'll just leave it in open descent. Fat fingers, wrong button. And we need 180 knots. So you can go flaps 1 for now. So we should overfly the airport directly. It's just in the middle, just prior to this, to the left of this big pillar, the support beam there. Providencial traffic, American 1576, likely talking to myself. 8 miles overflying the Papa Victor November VOR for the ILS, runway 10 to land. We'll overfly the airport and we'll get an opportunity to sort of see how long the runway is. The charts and everything suggest it'll be fine, but the charts are based on real life, and this airport's just been automatically generated, so the runway might not be what it's supposed to look like. We're almost there. I'm intentionally keeping it nice and slow. Especially being an alien airport, it just gives us that little bit more time to try and make the right decision. Especially because it would be embarrassing because I'm live streaming. Definitely one place on my bucket list that I want to visit when I can afford it. If you're just joining in, welcome. Hope you're enjoying the feed. We're just about to start a procedure for a VOR approach, runway 10 at Providenciales, Turks and Caicos Islands. You can see actually we're just about to overfly the airport. Make sure you click that subscribe button as well if you're new to the page, new to the channel. Look at that, nice long runway for us, and a little terminal building. You know what? Actually, this looks fairly okay for autogen from a distance. That directly down below us is the terminal building. So at 2,000 feet, and now we want to get ready for so we've got that VOR course, that needle there all ready to go. We want to fly 314 as we pass the airport. Quick little check, have a little look. Look at that, that's fantastic. Beautiful. 314 degrees for us as we cross that VOR. There's the airport just over, flying over now. This looks absolutely stunning. Look at that blue water. Beats Europe any day. And now we need to descend for 1,300 feet for our final approach altitude. So you can see our approach is slightly different compared to what the air traffic, what am I on about? Compared to what the autopilot would want to do if it followed the VOR. And we can go, spoilers, we can go gear down now. I think we are very low to the ground. Yeah, we're flying a VOR. Real slow rate of descent because we are waiting for that to reach 8 miles away from the VOR. We could give ourselves a real challenge. We could turn in when the autopilot thinks it should do, which would be now. But if I move ourselves away, we could probably do it from here, to be fair. Look at that. I have gone gear down very early. Let's turn in. Providenciales traffic, American 1576 at turning finals VOR, runway 10 to land. And we've got a VOR course of 105 degrees, 105. Look at that water. It's fantastic. Continue to turn, and we want that blue arrow that's above us on that nav display completely in line with the straight blue line, because that's our course from the VOR. 105, wasn't it? So let's set 130, 135, and then it's almost as if we're joining the localizer at 30 degrees, but we're joining that VOR line really. In fact, we'll do 145, which is now. You can see that blue arrow starting to move in on the nav display. And I can see the runway over there. So I'm going to set that, and I'm just going to set 400 foot per minute for now, just to get all this set up, and I'll go manual control now. So you can see that VOR actually is slightly to the left of the airport. Actually no, that's pretty bang on. And we need to set 3,000 feet for our 2,000 feet, sorry, for our missed approach. Initially fly runway heading as well. So we're flying manually. We've got a 12 knot crosswind as well. We've got no ILS data or RNAV or anything like that, so the descent profile is all down to us Our rate of descent is all down to us. But the auto throttle is dealing with the speed, so that gives us one less thing to worry about. Well, that wind keeps changing ever so slightly, so it's making it tricky with the setup that I've got. But I do like a challenge.
Above. 500.
So approaching the minimums according to the charts, but we can continue.
300. 200. 100. 50, 40, 30, 20, retard, 10, drive.
Welcome to the Turks and Caicos Islands. See, the airport's split into two sections there, but we need to actually backtrack. So I'll see if I can do it here actually. I could go all the way to the very end, but I can't see my landing rate. I used to use Sim Toolkit Pro, but I found that the landing rate was really botched. So I just thought there's no point. So I've actually stopped using Sim Toolkit Pro. I was doing landings like that and it was giving me like a landing rate sometimes of 0, well, like rate of descent, but also then sometimes it'd be the exact same landing and we'd get a rate of descent of minus 2,000 foot per minute or something silly, so I just stopped using it. So backtrack down the runway. Yeah, I think a lot of Sim Toolkit Pro is just a complete and utter guess. Someone's doing some assessments for controlling in Bahrain. Go ahead and pop those landing lights off. Nose wheel to taxi and the strobes off. This doesn't look too bad actually for an airport in the Caribbean, as an auto-generated one anyway. The only thing we haven't got is a tug, catering, steps, or ground power, and probably no fuel. But I'm going to open up when we park up on stand. Need to wait for the APU to fire up, and then I'm going to open up Pushback Express and see if I can force spawn a fuel truck and a few other bits. I can see what it's done actually. The sim all the way over there in the distance, the sim's put a fuel truck and further down a few other bits, so I reckon that's down in cargo where the sim's decided we should be parking. But the only cargo we've got on board is self-loading, i.e. passengers. I could probably stop it tracking that VOR now as well. I'm going to cut engine 2 for now, but still waiting for that APU to fire up. Hope you guys have found this enjoyable. Something very new. It was a request again, like I said a little while ago. It was a request from a subscriber about 2 months ago. I thought, you know what, I've done Europe a lot, so I thought I might as well go for this and revisit the Caribbean again. APU avail. And let's go ahead and turn engine 1 off. Let's see if I can spawn with Pushback Express. Thanks. And VORs are quite enjoyable because they are, it requires you to use visual landing and all the rest of it. It's quite enjoyable doing that. Oh, we've got baggage. We've got, what is that, catering, Gate Gourmet. Oh dear. And we can just manually open the door with Pushback Express. That means we should be able to spawn power. We can. There's the power truck. So click again, and he should start making his way. The only thing I can't spawn is steps. But on this basis, we should be able to spawn fuel truck as well. So let's do him. And let's have a little look at droney close-up stuff. Not sure where Gate Gourmet's going, but he's apparently he's new to the airport, so it's just he's going to write off a couple of £100 million jet. But and we've got the guys getting the baggage out in a really dangerous manner through the engine. So we're loading bags. We're not taking them off, but fine. Anyway, that's the end of today's stream. Make sure you click that subscribe button down below if you're new to the channel. Those of you who regularly tune in and are frequent flyers, i.e. subscribers on the channel, thank you again for tuning in and watching. It's always nice to have you on board. And make sure you check out, especially if you're new to VATSIM, the tutorials playlist. Here's BP. FS2 Cruise Pushback Express is what we're using today. I can highly recommend it. You can spawn all this stuff once you've landed as well. Cheers, Flight Simmer. Nice to see you again. See you all again soon for another stream as well. And if you want more of the Caribbean, join my Discord and let me know. Any suggestions, whatever, ping them on to me on the Discord server, the link to which is in the description, and I'll add it to my list of things to do. Hope you've enjoyed it. Oh, that's great to hear, Pillow Pilot, thank you.